All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Saturday, May 13th. We got a full MLB slate to jump into today. In terms of last night, in terms of a recap, right? We have good news, we have bad news. The good news, it's a super easy recap. The bad news is it's a super easy recap because we didn't win a single damn thing. We didn't win a single damn thing. That was one of the worst nights we've had on the channel ever. So, yeah, that's a tough one. But, guys, we look to bounce back today. Hopefully, we could do that like we do on the channel every single day. We go through each and every game. I give you my lean or leans on each game. We'll talk about it, but all my final plays will ultimately be in the pinned comment if you do want to ride with me or if you want to fade me. Last night you would have made money fading me. So, yeah, guys, check out the pinned comment for the final plays. Definitely not the best of days. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, though. Hit that like button. If you run out the likes, it'll bring both me and you and anyone else watching good luck. So go ahead, hit that like button there, and let's jump into today's games. First up here is going to be the Rays taking on the Yankees. Yankees at home, plus 117 on the money line. Total sitting at 8 runs. This was one of our losses from yesterday. The Yankees won this one 6-5. We did take the Rays. I kind of was on the fence, but that plus 150 odds for the Tampa Bay Rays was like too much that I couldn't pass it up. They do end up losing the game by 1 run, but today I do like the odds for them as well. Shane McClanahan on the mound here, and they're minus 134 on the money line here. You can get it at minus 135 most recently here on DraftKings. Cortez on the mound, he doesn't scare me on the Yankee side of things. 3-2 with a 4.74 ERA. I'm going to trust the 7-0 hand there on the mound for the Rays with a 1.76 ERA in a bounce back spot here. So I'm going to lean towards the Rays on the money line. We're looking at a total of 8 runs. Yesterday's game obviously scored 11 runs, but I think this one kind of sticks right around that 8 number, so I don't have really an official lean on the total. I guess I would edge towards the over, but I really don't like that all that much. In terms of what I feel confident in this game is going to be Rays on the money line. All right, next up, we got the Marlins taking on the Reds. Yesterday, the Reds get this win in Game 1, 7-4. Obviously, they had a new pitcher on the mound for Miami making his debut, which you can kind of expect here. And the Reds are very, very heavy underdogs in this one, coming off of that win. Miami is minus 190, most recently over here on MGM at home on the money line. And that's most likely because Sandy Alcantara is on the mound. Though he is 1-3 with a 4.74 ERA, you're looking at a Cy Young caliber pitcher. Stout on the mound for the Reds, 0-1 with a 15.75 ERA. Though it's a lot of juice, I'm going to lean towards the Marlins in this one, but really only look at them in terms of any sort of parlay play or anything like that. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we do throw something in terms of a parlay. I do think it's a Marlins day, but minus 190. I know the graphic says minus 170. That's outdated. Minus 190 is way too much juice to throw. If I could get it at minus 170, I actually may consider it, but I don't think that we're going to get there. I think those odds are long gone. Then we're looking at a total of 7 runs here. I do like the over in this one. It's even money on Caesars right now as well. I think people are putting a little bit too much weight into Sandy Alcantara, who obviously, yes, he's a phenomenal pitcher, like I said, but he hasn't had this crazy start to the year, or year thus far. So I'm going to look at the over as well. I don't think the Reds pitcher is really going to keep these Marlins down whatsoever. So I like the Marlins in this one, but only on the money line in terms of some sort of a parlay. And then I also am taking a peek at that over 7. Next up, we have the Tigers taking on the Mariners here. In yesterday's bout here, the Seattle Mariners win 9-2 in Game 1. Boyd was on the mound for the Tigers then. Marco Gonzalez on the mound for the Mariners. In terms of today, Fado on the mound for the Tigers. He's got 3.86 ERA, and Bryce Miller on the mound for the Mariners. 1-0 with a .75 ERA. Detroit is heavy underdogs here, plus 155 on the money line at home here. Total sitting at 8.5 runs. I think it's a good spot for Detroit, plus 1.5. Yes, yesterday was an absolute rout, and today you could probably make the argument that it might be the same thing. I'm not necessarily going to try and argue the opposite, but I do think that the money and the value is on the Detroit side of things. I don't see that there's value in Seattle minus 166. And I certainly don't trust Seattle to win this game by 2 runs, even after seeing it yesterday. So in terms of an analytical betting money percent perspective, I am going to lean Detroit both on the money line and on the run line. Let's not forget that they've been one of the better teams in the last like 2 to 3 weeks, right, in baseball, especially when you look at it from like an offensive consistency standpoint. They're scoring 6 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs, 6 runs, 6 runs, 5 runs. They dropped 2 yesterday. Hopefully they get the offense back on track. Obviously, Bryce Miller with a very low ERA. Maybe they do get to him. But I like the Tigers here on the run line. We're looking at a total of 8.5 runs. These two teams before yesterday had been trending in an under direction. That's because a lot of teams haven't been scoring a lot of runs against Detroit. I mentioned, the 6 runs, the 5 runs that are scoring. They're getting teams to put up, most notably in that, I would say, the Mets series, and then also until game, 3 of the St. Louis series. Cleveland definitely was in this boat too. Teams are scoring 2-3 runs against them. So you got to factor that in as well in terms of how well they're playing. And I think it's going to be a similar low-scoring type game today. So maybe like a 4-3 game, something like that, which is well under that 8.5. So I'm going to lean towards the under. All right, Twins taking on the Cubs here. Cubs get it done yesterday. They win that game 6-2. Minnesota has Joe Ryan on the mound today, 5-1, 2.45 ERA. Hayden Wesnecki's getting the start for the Cubs. He's 2-1 with a 3.15 ERA. Hayden Wesnecki, through 6 innings pitch against Miami just about a week ago, only allowed 1 earned run. In fact, in his last 3 starts, he's allowed a combined 3 earned runs. Same thing with Joe Ryan, but he did have a little bit of I would say, a blow-up game against Cleveland last time out. 2 earned runs within 6 innings, which just hasn't been like him necessarily. In terms of money here, -170 for the money line on the Minnesota side of things. I think it's a little bit too much money. I do think this is a better spot. I think the Twins have the edge, pitching edge definitely coming into this game. So I'm kind of in a tough spot. If we can get anything better than -170, maybe -160, -165, I'd actually consider Minnesota. If not, I kind of flip-flop and say, okay, this game probably is going to be close. Let's look at the Cubs side of things. That being said, I'm not looking at the Cubs to necessarily win. Can they win? Yes, they proved it yesterday. But I don't mind Cubs +1.5 because Minnesota, if they are going to win, I don't think that they're going to cover that -1.5. We've seen them in their last 2 wins, the last 2 games against San Diego, 4-3, 5-3. We've seen plenty of 1-run wins by them this season. They're not the best run line team, so I'm going to lean in that direction. If we can get better odds, I'm going to pull the trigger on Minnesota money line probably, but if we can't, I might look at Chicago on the +1.5 there. In terms of a total 7.5, I think this one actually goes over, even with 2 serviceable pitchers on the mound. Guys, before we get into the Atlanta and Toronto game, I want to talk to you a little bit about Outlier. If you haven't checked out Outlier yet, you're missing out. Outlier has become my favorite sports betting research tool. I say in a lot of videos here, both for player props and just games in general. Green means good, red means bad. If you can understand that, if you can drive a car and know to go when the light is green and to stop when the light is red, then you can understand Outlier. You can understand how it works and consume their research data and analysis very, very easily. It's a very easy app and website to use if you want to start betting on sports in a smarter way. Go check it out. I have a link in the description as well as the pinned comment. 7-day free trial. It is $19.99 a month as one of the plans after that. I think that's well worth it, but even if you're not willing to pay that, go check out that free trial, guys. It definitely is worth at least clicking on that link and checking it out. Trust me, guys, you can even see by the visuals I have on the screen. It is a well worth it in terms of how they've put it together, how clean it is, and how easy it is. Link in the description as well as the pinned comment. We're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Atlanta Braves here in this one. Braves, one of our final plays yesterday, they catch the L. Now on the mound for the Blue Jays today, Berrios, 3-3 with a 4.91 ERA. Bryce Elder on the mound for the Braves having a good year, 3-0 with a 1.74 ERA. And the Braves are actually underdogs in this one as we're looking at Toronto as a -125 favorites at home on the money line. I might be crazy. It's crazy that I'm even saying I might be crazy for taking the Braves here, but this is a good spot for them. +105 over on DraftKings right now for Braves money line. I think that they have the pitching nod here too. Hopefully Elder can continue to pitch well in his last 3 starts, or last 2 starts. He let up 1 run. He's gone 7 innings and I think just over 5. 10 strikeouts over his last 2 starts as well. I do think that this is a decent spot for him here to be able to capitalize on 1, good odds, and 2, on a bounce back spot for the Braves here. So I am going to lean towards Atlanta on the money line. We have a total of 9.5 runs. I don't really love either side of it, but I'm going to lean towards the under. All right, the Nationals taking on the New York Mets here. Nationals coming off of a loss yesterday to this Mets ball club. On the mound for the Nationals today, we have Trevor Williams, Lucchesi. Someone reminded me in the comments last time how to pronounce the guy's damn name. I can never think of it. Luchucky Cheese, whatever his name is. He is on the mound for the Mets here. Nationals 16-22 on the season. And like I said, coming off of the loss yesterday, they lose 3-2 to this Mets team. In terms of odds, Nationals still pretty heavy underdogs here. Updated number would be +134 over on FanDuel as underdogs. And it kind of makes sense. This Mets team, though it was a 3-2 game yesterday, I did like the way that this game was was trending for the Mets. And I kind of think they have the pitching not here. I don't buy into Trevor Williams all that much, so I am going to lean towards the Mets. And I actually, crazily enough, don't hate them on the run line for plus money. That is crazy. I'm probably, if I'm going to take this game, right, it's going to become a final play, I'm going to lean towards, take probably the Mets on the money line. But they're plus 110 odds here on the run line, even though they haven't covered a minus 1.5 in over 10 games here. I know that. I do think that this is a really good spot for them here, but I think that they bounce back, even after coming off a loss. I think that they win this game by a couple runs. So that's a slight lean for some plus money. If you want to be safe, I do like the Mets overall. Then in terms of the total 9 runs, I don't see either of these teams being able to get to that, 5-run mark or anything like that. So I'm going to lean towards the under, which again, that's kind of why I'm turned off by the run line. It's tough to be like, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I still need a team to win by 2 runs. That's why I probably pull the safe trigger and go with the Mets on the money line. All right, Oakland taking on Texas. Oakland gets the job done yesterday. And by the way, guys, if you feel like I have a little bit of a raspy voice or anything like that, it's because my picks stunk yesterday. No, it's I think I'm coming down with a little bit of something, but we're battling through it here. So hopefully the energy is still there, and it's all in my head that this is kind of a low energy video here. But the Athletics have Sears on the mound. He's 0-3 with a 5.54 ERA. Gray on the mound for the Rangers. And somehow, some way, I don't know what it is. I think I'm missing something here, but the Rangers are only minus 135 right now over on Caesars in terms of the money line. I know that they lose yesterday. Oakland wins 9-7 was the final score, but why is the Rangers odds so good? Why can we get great odds on the Rangers money line? I love this pick. I barely had to research this game, just looking at it saying, okay, Rangers are the better team. Yes, Oakland obviously wins yesterday, but they lose 4-1 or 4-0, right, in game 1 of this series. What's up with these odds? So is it because Texas is on the road? If so, I don't think that that's the biggest of reasons. So I'm leaning Rangers with the far better pitcher, the far better team, far better offense on the money line here. I really do like that play. And then in terms of a total 8.5 runs, I don't think Oakland carries their weight today, so I'm going to lean towards Texas and the under because I think this game could be a little bit more of like a 6-1 type game or a 5-1 type game. So that's where I'm going in terms of a total. I don't think the Oakland carries their weight like they did yesterday. All right, Red Sox taking on the Cardinals here. Red Sox minus 130 on the money line at home. They're coming off the loss from yesterday in which they lose 8-6. They did put up a decent amount of runs. Chris Sale on the mound for the Red Sox. He's coming off of 2 straight wins, which I really do like to see. He's pitched over 6 innings, or at least 6 innings in both of those. Had 10 Ks last game. He did allow 3 runs, but still, with the Red Sox, how much they're scoring, that really isn't going to kill you. So I do like Chris Sale in this spot. Steve Matz on the mound for the Cardinals here. He's got a 5.7 ERA. He's coming off of his win against Detroit. I think they won 12-4 when he won the other game. He only pitched 5 innings in that game, though, so I'm hoping that he gets out of here. Red Sox get to that Cardinals bullpen, and the Red Sox come out with a win because I like them on the money line. I'm backing Chris Sale here, is starting to turn the corner, at least to some degree. And then in terms of a total 10 runs, I know yesterday was 8-6, and I can never really take the Red Sox in an under because they can put up 10 runs anytime I look, so I'm going to slightly lean towards the over. I don't love the fact that it's double digits, I'll be completely honest, but I will still lean towards the over because I can't really fathom the under being a profitable, long-term sort of repeatable strategy for this Red Sox team. All right, Guardians taking on the Angels here. In terms of yesterday, LA gets the win 5-4. Tyler Anderson started for them yesterday. On the mound today is Detmers. He's 0-3 with a 5.1 ERA. Quantrill on the mound for the Guardians here. He's 3.9 ERA and 2-2 on the season. But he's coming off a 7-inning pitched game against the Twins. A week ago, his last start, right? 0 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. He gets the win. I'm going to trust the hot hand. You're getting even odds here, or around even odds. Plus 105 on the money line when it comes to the Guardians right now, and they're coming off a loss, which I think helps these odds. And I told you guys in yesterday's video, and I could have egg on my face soon, right? But I just don't really truly believe in this A's team. They're way too inconsistent for my liking, and because they have some, studs on that team, I think a lot of people give them a lot of credit and think that, oh, Ohtani's on the team, he's amazing, or Trout, that type of thing, which, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I do think they get a lot of credit. I think that Cleveland could be favored in this game when it comes down to the pitching, being at home, and just overall, I guess, when you look at the 2 seasons of these 2 teams, it's okay, the Guardians are 17-21, the A's are 21-18. They're both right around 500. Obviously, I'd rather be above 500. I'm not saying that, but I do think when it comes down to it, I do lean towards the Guardians here. I think that you're getting good odds at right around even odds, plus 105. Then in terms of a total 8.5 runs, I'd love to say I'm backing Quantrill to go out and shut out the A's, and that's the pitcher I'm backing. But again, he's just coming off of a good start. Prior to that, it's not like he was doing all that much. So I do still like the over 8.5 in this this game, even though I want this one to be a tough offensive game for the Angels. All right, Baltimore taking on Pittsburgh. Baltimore heavy favorites in this one, which why wouldn't they be? Coming off a 6-3 win yesterday. And you guys know the Pirates are so fadeable to me right now. On the mound for Baltimore in today's game, we are looking at Wells. Wells has a 3.15 ERA, 2-1 record on the season. He's in his last 3 starts, he has 2 wins and 1 no decision, where he only had 1 earned run. I do like his strikeout props for the under. I'll keep that in mind. If you're looking at player props, we do player props over on TikTok and Instagram Reels if you guys are interested. And then on the mound for Pittsburgh here, Contreras is 3-3 with a 4.74 ERA. He's coming off 2 straight losses, one against Tampa Bay and one against Toronto. 2 decent teams. I understand that, but I do still think that this is a good spot for Baltimore. The only thing is the odds. They are creeping in a direction that we like, so they're here opening up at minus 165, which you can see in the graphic. But you can right now get it on FanDuel at minus 158. So if we start seeing that creep more towards minus 150, I actually don't mind it whatsoever. If it stays right around there, I don't know if it's totally worth the juice is going to be worth the squeeze there. So I'm probably going to stick off this game. I do lean Baltimore, but I'm going to stick away from making it a final play if we can't get better odds there. And then we're looking at the total of 8.5. Contreras, 5 earned runs and 4 earned runs in his last 2 starts here. Wells, 4 earned runs and 1 earned run in his last 2 starts. So we're kind of middling that road if you look at that in terms of average on that 8.5 line. I am still going to lean towards the over, but I really don't totally love it. But I can't really see a safe underplay being thrown out here, so I do like the over. All right, we got Milwaukee taking on Kansas City. And before we even get to the pick, I do want to show you guys something. This isn't an outlier play of the day, but this is a cool thing that we can find over on Outlier, which is what I talked to you guys about towards the start of the video. Look at this. You can see the percentage of bets, which is like the public betting, what everyone's betting on. But in terms of percentage of money, it is completely flip-flopped. You have 77% of bets on Milwaukee, but 78% of the money is on the Royals. So in this one, I'm a little bit crazy, and I know it, but I'm actually going to lean and follow the money here with the Royals. Greinke is on the mound for them, 1-4 with a 5.18 ERA. You don't love that. Hauser on the mound for the Brewers. No decisions yet with a 3.86 ERA. I believe he only, 3 starts on the, 1 start on the year, 3 starts in the last, year and a half. He's not obviously regular, I guess. Greinke is. That being said, I do think we got to follow the money in this one. That's something that I look at. I just want to throw that into something different with the video there. My mind would bet with the public, Milwaukee obviously, but 77% of people are betting on Milwaukee, and all this money is coming in Kansas City. If you don't know what I mean by bet percentage or money, I guess you could easily break it down in like a dumb approach, right? And I'm very good at speaking dumb, trust me. So in terms of percent of bets, that is just like the quantity of bets. If I place a bet for $100 and you place a bet for $200, they're equal, one and the same. It's a bet, one singular bet. The percentage of money is kind of where it comes down to. So you betting a $200 bet and I bet $100 on the same exact game, you're gonna have 33 or 66% of the money is on whatever you pick because you're betting sort of that larger quantity. So a good way to look at that and understand it is that the money, if you follow the money, that's because the big hitters, the sharps, the people that are putting a lot of money on games and maybe they're doing this for a living and blah blah, right? Those are the people that are betting on these games and kind of skewing that money line versus, your Joe Schmo betting $2 on a game. It's equal to one of those bets. Maybe that was confusing. Just know that percent of money is pretty much that total money, how much money is on that side. It could be one person placing $1 million. It could be 1 million people placing $1, but money is sort of the king here. And then the percent of bets is where the public is. And you hear people talk about fading the public and all that. That's because it really is. It doesn't matter how much you're betting. It's just 1 for 1. Let's go ahead and get into the next game. Again, we're leaning Kansas City here on the money line. And then in terms of the total, I meant to say that I do lean towards the under as well. All right, Dodgers taking on the Padres. Yesterday's game, LA wins that one 4-2. We didn't make it a final play, which we did, because it would have been nice to get a win yesterday, but that was our lean. And I do think that this Padres team is a good team, but they're facing up against an LA team that's really finding their stride today. Julio Urias on the mound for the Dodgers here. He is They've won 2 times in his last 2 starts. He has 1 win and 1 no decision. He had 10 strikeouts a couple games back. I think this is a good spot again for the Dodgers. Musgrove on the mound for the Padres. I don't totally love him. I just don't necessarily back him either. So I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers here. Minus 145 at home is decent odds as well. I know you're getting towards that, a lot of juice to be paying line, but minus 145 is sort of that benchmark or that barrier threshold that I actually still consider, profitable in the long run. So I'm leaning towards towards the Dodgers. Total is sitting at 8.5 runs. I think this one actually does go up and over, even though neither one of these teams are trending in that direction. But if you look at the runs that they've been scoring independently, I guess you could be like, okay, take either of these games and pair them together, because right now the Dodgers are beating teams, and other teams, you know, they're scoring 8 runs or 6 runs themselves, and no one's scoring against them. So I hope that San Diego can at least come to play today, but the Dodgers still come out on top. All right, White Sox taking on the Astros, and I am fading fast. The voice is going away. We're battling through this. I don't think I have my fastball today in terms of entertainment, but hopefully you guys do still enjoy. Make sure to comment 20 in the comments if you're still watching. We did that yesterday, and there's a bunch of people commenting 20 because we're about 20 minutes into the video, and I saw a bunch of comments being like, why the hell is everyone commenting 20? What's that about? And I'm like, if you know, you know. You know what I mean? That's someone that's not sticking around. The real ones are still here and hearing this lovely, you know, sore voice. You probably can't even tell the difference, but I can feel it. Oof. Allergies are a bummer. But let's go ahead and get into this game. We got 3 games on the slate. I promise you guys I can make it. We got the White Sox taking on the Astros. Cease on the mound for the White Sox. You know we love when he pitches for them, and that is the direction we're going to be looking at today. I think this Houston team is kind of getting back to form here. They've won 3 straight games, obviously taking yesterday's win 5-4 as well. But I do think that I got to back Cease, or at least I don't fade the White Sox when Cease is on the mound. He's obviously an absolute stud. So that's kind of the direction we're leaning in. I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros win this game. You know what I mean? So it kind of gives you my confidence level in what I'm looking at on the White Sox side of things, because Cease really, I mean, though he's such a good pitcher, he hasn't really been all that great. He has 2 losses in his last 3 starts. He let up 4 earned runs through 5 innings in his second to last start too. So he hasn't been doing it all. I just think that he has this untapped potential, and he's tapped into plenty of it. I do really trust that pitcher. So I'm going to lean White Sox on the money line. Total is sitting at 9 runs. I like the under here as well. Both these teams obviously keeping it under yesterday. Houston did their job, 5 runs. White Sox came in with only 1 run, but they've only scored 5 runs through their last 3 games here. So I don't necessarily trust that offense as of right now. And Houston, not like they're this powerhouse. They've scored 3 runs, 5 runs, and 5 runs. Yes, they're doing their part for that over, but not necessarily enough to make me look at the over here. So I like the under, and I like the White Sox simply because of the pitcher. But even if you look at his stats, it's kind of crazy. So I'm being transparent with you guys. I think this is a decent Houston spot too as underdogs, but I can't really fade Cisse all that much. Arizona taking on San Francisco here. Arizona coming off of the win yesterday, 7-5. And the only thing I'm really going to be looking at here is the over for even odds over on DraftKings as of right now. I don't love either side of it. I guess San Francisco for the money, plus 148 on the money line, but I don't really like Arizona as minus 180 favorites. That's way too much for me to even consider. But I do like the over 8 runs here. Gallen on the mound scares me a little bit, I'll be completely honest. 5-1 with a 2.38 ERA. Then on the mound for the Giants is Anthony Del Scafani, 3-2 with a 2.80 ERA. These 2 pitchers have low ERAs, which is why I think we're looking at this total as a very low total. But DeScafani in his last start here through 7 innings let up 5 runs, and Gallen, obviously a very good pitcher. I have nothing bad to say about him, but he has been gotten to at least at times. And last time he pitched against this San Francisco team, he did let up 4 runs through 4 innings. So maybe not the best matchup for him either. I'm going to lean towards the over. I really do like that play today, especially for that plus money. Last game of the slate, we have the Rockies as big underdogs here taking on the Phillies. Phillies now have won 4 in a row. Suarez on the mound for them. He has not pitched this season. On the mound for the Rockies is Feltner. He's pitched this season. He hasn't pitched all that great. He is pitching well. They've won the last 3 times that he has started, which is why I'm going to lean towards the Rockies here. But this Phillies team, guys, if you're on the Phillies side of things, all the gas to you. Seriously, playing good baseball as of right now. Scoring 6 runs, 8 runs. They have a low scoring game against Toronto, and they scored 6 runs yesterday. But this Colorado team, for that plus 140 odds, with a pitcher on the mound that actually has been sort of heating up a little bit, I do like. So for the money, I'm going to lean towards Colorado. In terms of a total 11.5, you know we're looking at the under because I'm a non-over believer when they're in Colorado. I think that they have these juiced odds and numbers for their totals, and I love taking the unders when we're there, only out of a personal standpoint. Like, that's not how to analytically bet or anything like that. It actually makes sense why these are such high numbers, but I still do think you got to hit the bat on the ball if you do want to score some runs. The only thing I will say is I think there's a lot of wind, so meteorologist Ev reporting for duty, there's 10 mile an hour of wind blowing directly to center field. That doesn't really seem like, but it's going to be cold, about 55 degrees, and a little bit of chance for precipitation. So, you know, meteorologist Ev checking out. Back to you, Ev, with sports, but I do think this could be an under type of a game. And guys, that is all I have for you guys in today's video. Again, I apologize if it sounds any different or low energy. One, we're coming off a terrible night, so it's not the most inspiring thing to jump on here, get in front of the camera and say, Right? So that's got to be tough. But nonetheless, we do it every single day. And we got this allergies killing us. My sinuses, my throat, yikes. But we're still grinding through it, guys. Hope you guys do enjoy. Keep an eye on the pinned comment for the final plays. And I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.